This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with Tracy Brinkmann, and let me tell you a little bit about Tracy. He's known as the host of the Dark Horse Entrepreneur, and he's the founder of something called Lead, Click, Convert, which he's going to tell you about in just a moment. But let me just very briefly, let's see. Basically, that's most of what I know, because what I love about this is that you are a fantastic storyteller. So in your case, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of dive into our itinerary here.
Sure.
And you're about to share something with us. I mean, we were chatting in the green room just a few minutes ago that had me saying I was already excited, but the amps on this just got turned way up.
Way up.
All right. So, Tracy, welcome aboard.
Hey, I've always wanted to say this. What's up, homie?
Homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that. I had to drop that in there. No, thank you so much for having me aboard.
I get that all the time. I'm back and forth. I've actually thought about changing back to my original family name. The surname I have is because my grandfather, for whatever reason, adopted his stepfather's name. My actual family name is Jumet, Jumet.
Okay.
I thought about changing it back on the one hand, because on the one hand, I wouldn't have to deal with pings saying people, yo, homie.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'd miss it.
You're right.
All right. So the first thing is overall, how does the work that you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and the world at large?
Oh, my goodness. I think one of the great things about what I'm able to do for folks is it helps them get their message out. I know you're an avid podcaster, which is why we're here talking to each other. And that is such an awesome medium to get it out there. But I think so many folks are like, man, how do I drive? Everyone's like, how do I drive more listeners? How to get more people? And there are ways to do that. You build on relationships with other high authority websites, USA Today, et cetera, and get your content there that's pointing back to you, and that drives that traffic. So making it easier for folks to be able to do that, I think, is one of the ways that makes their world a little bit better, so they can focus on that content only.
Yeah, I think that's very important. So what is it that you actually do as you're about to reveal the word to our competitors?
What it is, you mean behind the scenes in the business world?
Well, yeah, overall, because we're both involved in launching podcasts. Now, you and I have two different takes on it. The Podcast Reach System is about the entire process and mechanism of getting the podcast up and running into the world, and developing a mindset and a process that simplifies it and builds the stick-to-itiveness that keeps you running with it. That's the thing. Now, you shared with me in the green room that there are some other elements where you have different angles on podcasting, and also how you can take the podcasting model and leverage it to build celebrity expert status in different ways. So
Right.
we have slightly different approaches here, and in some ways they parallel and complement each other. So tell us what you do. Tell us what you do, and then go in that direction a little bit, like what we discussed a moment ago.
Sure, absolutely. I think, and I'm with you on the podcast launching. I think for me, I come at it from the angle of a podcast should be a marketing arm of whatever business you're already doing, right? So it's another way to, like I was saying earlier, get your message out there, get your content out there, warm up your audience, resonate with your tribe. So when they finally do get you on a discovery call or whatever it is you call it, they're already warmed up. They're past all the who is this guy stuff. They're like, I already vibe with you, homie. Right? I already vibe with you, Adam. Let's get through all that stuff and get right to the brass tacks. And one of the ways you do that, right, obviously, is with your podcast that speaks to them. And I have inside my system is like, I call it the STAR AIM, right? And that's an acronym for, you got to have your special subject that you're talking to, that you're all about, right? You can't be everywhere. You can't be everything.
That's yes.
Everybody. Yes, right? And then the T is your tribe. Who is your tribe? The A is, where are you taking them? Where are they going to arrive on this journey that you're taking them with your voice? And then finally, the R is, what is the reason to resonate? Why the hell should they listen to you? And then the aim is your alluring, inspiring message. When you have all those things nailed down, and I know I'm preaching to the choir when I'm talking to you about this.
Oh, yeah.
When you have all
That's
these
why I'm
things,
nodding vigorously.
Yeah, right? When you have all these things nailed down, man, your content almost writes itself, right? And then you can take pieces of that content and put it out there in the digital ecosphere on different platforms, the USA Today's, the Huffington Post, and all these places that are these high authority websites that starts drawing the traffic. They get millions of hits a day. So if you can get on there and it starts drawing traffic, it also does a little bit of Google juice to raise you up in their rankings by having those backlinks and what have you. And then if you can get on there regularly, it really starts building that momentum. So when someone does a search for, I need to see an entrepreneur podcast, or I need to see this kind of podcast or that kind of podcast, you start showing up in the SERPs a little better. Absolutely right.
I also like to make the point, I frequently get the question of, hey, how do I get booked as a guest on more podcasts? And my answer is, do you have one of your own?
Yes.
No. Well, you should.
You should.
The reason being is other podcasters are going to be more likely to book you because you have your own show for a couple reasons. One of the reasons is they see you're doing it. They have a higher level of confidence you're going to do a great job on their show.
Right.
The other thing is reciprocity. So as a podcast host, they're guesting too.
Yeah.
So you might do a mutual exchange on each other's shows.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've gotten a lot of bookings simply because they were originally on mine. They happen to have one too. I've been invited to 3 podcasts this week. Right. Simply because I interviewed them on this show and they happen to have one too. So it became a mutual exchange. And that's part of how it works. Now, when you speak of some people call it mainstream media, some people call it legacy media, and we're not going to get into people's feelings about it or anything like that because they all have them. Right. The point is these are high traffic areas. These are places where, regardless of your feeling about the media, these media outlets, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people tune in. Now, you are more likely, in my estimation, my experience, to get featured in these media outlets when you show that you yourself have a media outlet, meaning a podcast. A, for the same reason, you understand the media, and B, because it implies that you have a tribe. Even major media outlets, legacy media outlets, need outlets. They need backlinks for themselves. They need to have their stuff that they put out permeate. So if you have a media outlet of your own, you're statistically more likely to share the fact that you were on theirs.
Absolutely right. 100%.
Yeah. So that's why it's very important. Now, in your experience, what are 3 of the most common questions that people ask as they're discovering their process of deciding to work with you?
Oh, especially when it comes to podcasts, and this is, what equipment do I need, and how many times have you been asked that? I'm sure, and I have taken the answer and simply
Logitech headset, Logitech webcam, plug it in, go.
I actually go one step simpler.
Yeah.
The equipment that you'll use. There it is. If you already have a webcam and a microphone on your laptop and that's what you'll use, then use it. Is it the best? I don't know. I'm not your laptop.
You look good. Do I look good?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And then later on, if you want to buck up, hey, look, you see this microphone right here? I bought this microphone 7 years ago for $45, and it still works great.
You sound great, man. Like you're sitting in the same room as me.
There it is. So that's a big one. And I think so many folks are using these questions to replace or to justify their fears. Oh, well, I need to get this model XYZ123789 and it's $800. I don't have $800. No. Right? It's like the question you probably should be asking is, what's the easiest path to get my X launched? In this case, a podcast, or maybe it's a digital product. I help folks with their digital products, or I want to raise my level of authority across the ecosphere, the digital ecosphere. What's the easiest way I can do that? Oh, here it is, A, B, C, and you do those things, and it'll make it happen.
Yeah, I'd like to point out something that you can get something really good looking for about $200. That's the first item. And there's a story I like to tell. I have my own podcasting group called Everything Podcasting. I believe you're a member of it. And I also belong to a bunch of other podcast groups where podcasters come together. Now, in this one group in particular, they just love to talk about equipment. So I remember, and this was back in 2020 when the government first got into the game of sending people checks. And remember that first round, they were called the Trump checks.
Yes.
So we all got our $1,200 Trump checks, or $1,400. I can't remember how much it was. I put it all in crypto. But anyway, I saw a post in there. The guy was holding up I guess a bank statement, and he had highlighted the line in his bank statement that showed that he had gotten his deposit from IRS Treasury, which is how it looks on your bank statement.
Sure.
And in his post, he made a list of all this equipment that he spent the whole thing on. And he ended with, the possibilities. So some guy in that group, I don't know who it was, had to reply, whoa, dude, if somebody likes tech, I'm really geeking out here. So what's your show about? He hadn't thought about that part.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many times you ask that question, and I'm sure you've done it. Many of the groups. Hey, I want to start a podcast. Well, what's it going to be about? Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking about this or thinking about that. Well, okay, stop. That's the first step right there. Like we were just talking about that star aim. What do you want to talk about? Who you want to talk to? Where are you going to take them? And why should they listen to you? There it is, right there.
Yeah. Normally these interviews are 15 minutes, but I figure we're going to go just a couple more minutes here because I knew that this one was going to be a little bit of a brain trust experience.
Okay.
So at this point, what I want to do is I want to ask one more question real quick.
Okay.
And then I want to lightning round through the rest of it to sort of get us caught up. So we're going to do that lightning round approach. But first, we went through the 3 frequently asked questions. What are 3 questions you wish that ask?
That's a good one. I don't want to leave dead air here. 3 questions I wish they asked. The first one is, should I do a podcast?
That's good.
Quite often the answer is going to be yes, but maybe right now is not the time. Maybe there's some other things in the background you need to set up. Number 2 is, if first one is no, what should I do next to prep for my podcast, right? Or what should I do next? And then number 3 is, what should I sell? So often I hear one of the questions that people will be asking is, how will I make money with my podcast, right? And everyone's stuck on this whole advertiser, number of downloads, that kind of model. There are so many other models out there that you can start revenue. I don't know, a gentleman that started getting revenue before he hit record on his first podcast because it was so dialed in and so niche. He was able to go to, it was going to be a fishing podcast focused on a local group there on the East Coast. He went to a local fishing shop and said, hey, all these people that are going to be listening are probably going to come right within 5-10 miles of your store, right? The guy said, here it is, and started handing him checks every month. And the guy started doing a podcast and started selling to folks, and people started going into the store. It was this love relationship. So there's multiple ways. So I guess the last question would be, what's the right way for me to make money off my podcast?
That's fantastic. So now let's get to explore Tracy Brinkmann, the dark horse entrepreneur, as a person, and have a little fun with this. So now we go into the lightning round. And the first question is, what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
People that know me would be surprised to learn about me. That I would have loved to have stayed in Germany. I love the United States, proud veteran, but I enjoyed my time over in Germany when I was stationed there, and I probably would have stayed given the opportunity.
Great. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
Oh, Tracy is awesome. No, and I say that a little tongue in cheek because I'm always trying to deliver value. So often people will drop in my DMs, and I offer probably more advice than I should. But that's just how I roll, right? So that when it comes to paying for it, they're like, well, this is all the stuff he gives. He's just giving it away. Obviously, he's got greater knowledge in there. So that Tracy's a giver. He's happy to help.
That's fantastic. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing you've experienced, what would that be and why?
Ooh, I've been asked this question before. And you know what? Honestly, I'm very happy with where I am in my life these days. And I think if I would have changed anything, it would have altered the course, and I couldn't be able to say that quite as easily. So honestly, nothing. Do I like the shit I went through? Oops, sorry. All of it?
No, you're allowed.
Have I made some stupid mistakes? Absolutely. It's a whole nother show. We can get into that if you want to. But yeah, I probably wouldn't change anything.
Oh, well, and that seems to be the answer that about a third of our guests give us. And for reasons actually kind of similar to what you shared. Now, what famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And if you had that opportunity, what would you ask them?
I'm on the fence. I'm cut in the middle between Bruce Lee and Zig Ziglar, but I will lean towards Bruce Lee. His book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, impacted me early on as a teen, and just to be able to sit down and pick his brain about his philosophy. So probably not one specific question I would ask him, but maybe it would be, what really moved him to start being so deep. There'd be so many questions I'd want to ask, but we'd start there. It's like, be water. Okay, that makes perfect sense once I know what he means.
Yeah, that's an interesting pair of options there. I got to tell you that. What motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
Oh, well, it used to be my daughters. It still is. My daughters were in the house. It was always their big, beautiful smiles. It is the responses I get from those that I'm able to connect with. I was having some troubles just here recently. I was like, man, do I want to keep doing this podcast? Later that day, I got a DM from a guy going, hey, I just heard one of your podcasts. It was exactly what I needed to hear. That's the kind of thing that keeps me moving when times get tough.
Oh, that's great. Now, I know that you have a special gift for our listeners, and I will explain what that is in just a moment. So in general, however, what is one action or one step that you would like folks to take as soon as they finish listening to us today?
I think no matter what they're doing, whether it's about a podcast or if they're an entrepreneur of any type, applying that STAR aim thing we were talking about earlier, they're going to be solving a problem. What's that problem they're solving? That's that S. Who are they? Just go right back to that STAR aim and figure it out for yourself. It will solve so many problems in your podcast or in your business.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And before y'all go, I know you have a little something for us, so I'll tell our listeners. I encourage everybody to go to darkhorseschooling.com/6-CS, meaning C's, _hub entrepreneurship. If you are watching this on brilliancepluspassion.com, you see it in the video right now, and you find the link in the show notes. If you're checking us out while you are listening to us, I said it out loud, so just make sure you subscribe so you can go back and check that replay. And what this is going to be, it's a very simple download. And what it covers is 6 core topics or lessons every entrepreneur should take to heart when looking to start, restart, kickstart, or start leveling up your business. And earlier, Tracy mentioned that if you are not sure that podcasting is for you, or you're thinking that right now is not the time, but there may be some other things you want to make sure that you have in place before you take that step, just going through these 6 things, I think, will get you farther down that path. Having read it myself, I can agree wholeheartedly that these are the foundations for being able to be amazing when it comes to the world of podcasting. So with that, Tracy Brinkmann, thank you so much for being with us once again. It's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Adam.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.